going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! 7. I'll be going over episode 17 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. This video went out a little bit later than I did expected. I do apologize for that. There was kind of some complications going on in the episode. I think it did come out in Go-Go Anime, but at low quality from what I was told, so it didn't get into other sites, and there was some issues going on, but come out, so if the chance to watch it, go and watch the episode, and then come back, and then you can give your review down on the episode down below in the description as well, and just watch my review then. But without further ado, guys, episode 17. So, what were my thoughts on this episode? Surprisingly, I actually liked the episode a little bit. I think it was a really trippy episode, I guess would be the best way to describe it. It was definitely one of the weirder episodes, but honestly, though, I did enjoy the aspects of this duel, but without further ado, let's get into it. So we begin this episode with Neil, actually. We don't even get to see the crew until after the opening. We actually do learn a little bit about Neil, where his parents basically gave him duel cards. In fact, he actually, when he was 5, he was winning tournaments, which to me is kind of insane. Which kind of makes it funny is because if you go like to Walmart or something like that, and you go to the store and you look at your packs, like I remember the first time I got my first ever structure deck, which I believe was Rise of the Dragons. It was the one that had the Fergalin dragon in it, but I remember always when you look in the box it says 6+ years old, and he did confirm that he was 5 years old when he did this, so a 5-year-old winning a tournament. In fact, the duelist that he faced, even though it was an off-screen duel, he actually did not lose a single life point during that duel, which is they're really making him to be very, very powerful in terms of dueling. And even just a smart character. I mean, I'm not surprised this is Kirito's VA we're talking about. If you guys don't know who Kirito is, Kirito is from the anime Sword Art Online. So if you know who Kirito is, then you probably know what I'm meaning by this. But anyway, we do learn a little bit about him. He talks about how when he won that tournament, he actually became part of Goha, and he actually was in this room which was called the Garden of Providence, because that's a recurring thing that he kept talking about. Is like when he meets up with Yuga and the gang, he tells them that they're gonna have to wander the Garden of Providence, and there's gonna be multiple duelists roaming around the place. If you were able to defeat them, I think defeat them all, then he's allowed to get the flash drive that actually has Kaizo in it. But if they, so here's the here was what ends up happening in this. If all of them lose at least 6 times, which again they're using that 6 again and again and again, if they lose 6 times during this whole entire thing, all of their accounts are deleted for good. They can never get it back again, which is very, very insane. I mean, that kind of makes me a little bit nervous for one character in particular, which I'll talk about him either in the episode 18 summary and cast list, or I might mention him a little bit later on in this video. But before they actually went down the hallway, we do learn that Neil actually knows Otis. He actually does mention this to Yuga, and this shocks the entire group. And honestly, Yuga's smart because, or he really doesn't care, because he didn't seem bothered by it, the fact that he did know him. Otis does tell him that there is going to be a kid who rises to become the Duel King, and this is Yuga with his new invention. And this kind of, well, it doesn't infuriate him, because he goes and tries to actually delete rush duels. Now, I do want to say something. This is just an out there theory that I want to put out. I want you guys to let me know what you guys think of this, because this is something I thought about a little bit after watching it when it actually went live. This is a theory that I had a little bit. There might be a chance that Neil is Mr. Goha. And now before, I know it sounds a little bit weird, but here's my thing about it though. The only character we've seen so far that is trying to get rid of rush duels before Neil was even introduced was Mr. Goha. And I don't think it's that far of a stretch to say that it was. And you might argue with, well, Mimi knows Neil, but like never really met Neil. If that was the case when they know Mr. Goha. Mr. Goha is in a mask, so Neo can be in the mask, but they never know that Neo was in this mask. So that honestly is a possibility. Plus, they both ride in a kind of like a floating chair. We see that in episode 7 when Mr. Goha is just hanging above them all when they were in that meeting to try to get rid of Rush Duel. So that might be an out there theory, but honestly, it's not a far stretch from what we've seen. I mean, they both have to be smart as well to be able to do this, and maybe they just don't know. Maybe he uses a voice modulator or something like that, and that's why people can't recognize Neo's voice. Honestly, I can see that as a possibility, but I'm not going to talk about that too much. Probably not going to do a video on it just because it's too. Well, I've made theories that are way out there, but those were more for just the humor of it, I guess. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there real quick. But, you know, he goes back into the darkness of the hallway, and now the king is on their own, and now they have to traverse the halls to find the duelist. And they do run in their first duelist, Schrodinger, which is this cat human-like creature, and that became his first opponent, and Rook decided that he was going to take the battle. And this is basically where the episode then goes into. The duel itself, I actually did enjoy this duel. It really was interesting, and I like the concept of what this duel was. From Schrodinger's deck to even like the reactions from Rook, because this just makes you show how much Rook is struggling right now with the concept of Yugioh wanting to become the duel king, basically. So they begin the duel, and I'm going to read off some of the cards, because he only uses 5 different cards. He uses technically 6, but one of those was the same card. Well, actually, he does summon multiple. He summons 2 monsters of the same, summons 1 monster that's different, plays 2 of the same trap, and then plays a spell card. So here was the cards that he did play. I'll read the spells and trap first. So one of the spell card, the only spell card he played was the spell card Eye of the Cat. The trap card was called Lost Cat. And then here are the monsters, and this is what I really like about it. So we got Blue Eyes White Cat, Red Eyes Black Cat, and Odd Eyes Twin-Tailed Cat. Do you get where we're going with this? Blue Eyes White Cat, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Red Eyes Black Cat, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Odd Eyes Twin-Tailed Dragon, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Or I guess you can say Odd Eyes Dragon too, but still, these are references to older dragons in the series. But you know what I like about it a little bit more? It's funny enough because these like cat versions of the dragons that we've seen in the previous shows is going against a dragon type deck, which I think is brilliantly done. I really do love that. But what's really cool is how they're used. So Schrodinger's entire strategy was for basically around chance. So basically, I'll explain Lost Cat first. So basically, with Lost Cat, you draw you flip over the top card of your deck, and if your opponent can guess it correctly, then I believe it's when your opponent targets your monster for an attack, is when you can activate this trap. If he is able to guess it correctly, the attack continues. If it is not the right card, and it just has to be a monster spell or trap, then his attack is negated and he takes 300 points of damage. And this is where the whole thing just went downhill for Rook, because he was on his Schrodinger summoned Blue Eyes White Cat and Red Eyes Black Dragon on his first turn, set the 2 cards, the Lost Cat, ended his turn. He was able to get Rush Dragon Dragears on the field as ace, and then he got Dark Dragon Knight on the field. He goes to try to attack with both of them, but he gets caught by both of the cards' effects. And he gets monster both times, but they were spells, so he did negate both the attacks and was able to deal 600 points of damage. Schrodinger goes, and he was able to summon Odd Eyes Twin-Tailed Dragon, which I'm just going to say this, though, as much as it's cool to see a Blue Eyes White Dragon and a Red Eyes Black Dragon cat form, I think it would just been a little bit more cool if it was a Clear Wing and a Dark Rebellion. The reason I say that is because it would make sense with the Odd Eyes twin-tailed cat that was on the field, because in fact they were Clear Wing, Dark Rebellion, and Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon have been on the field before together when Yuya had them on the field. So it's not that much of a stretch to say that that would just be a cool ode to the U boys. But hey, ode to Joey Wheeler, Cedric Kaiba, I will take any day. I am not complaining at all. And honestly, out of all of the characters that we have gotten under these one-shot characters, the one character that I kind of want to see again is honestly Schrodinger. Just to see, like, could we get like a Borreload kind of like cat monster? Would we get like a Stardust, a Black Rose? Like I said before, like the Dark Rebellion or the Clearwing. I think it would just be so cool to see these different dragons that we've seen throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh series in cat forms. I think it would be really, really fascinating and seeing how they would work with each other. But getting back to the actual duel, Schrodinger goes to the attack. He activates Eye of the Cat. It's the same effect again, or the same type of effect. He flips over the Rook flips over the top card of his deck, and if he's able to guess it correctly, then it negates the direct attack because this card is allowing his monsters to declare a direct attack if he cannot actually get the card correctly. But if he does guess it wrong, direct attack. And he goes for it. He thinks spell, but he's just out of it at this point because he keeps thinking about, like, is there a chance that I can become the dual king? Will Yuga outthrown me? Like, he was just conflicting with himself about Yuga being the dual king, and it just really was messing up his dueling. In fact, he actually did guess trap card before and just hesitated and then chose monster card and drew a trap. Took direct attack, was down to 100 light points. He's just out of it at this point. He actually asks Yuga, and this actually got me. This was actually funny. I'm not gonna lie about that. Rook asks Yuga if he becomes the dual king, can he become it? So if Yuga becomes the dual king, could he become the dual king? And basically Yuga said no, but he said like. But he meant it more like you can make your own path to becoming a dual king. Not for me, you're not gonna outthrow me, but you can still become the dual king. Like if you create that path, you can become the dual king. Basically, that probably was the worst explanation I could probably give, but that's basically the general point. And this excites Rook. He goes into his turn, and he does actually summon a new monster, which I actually do have it pulled up, called Thrush Dragon Bunker Strike, which it looks really cool. It kind of almost reminds me of a mixture of Power Tool Dragon and Borreload Dragon kind of like fused together with like an electric socket coming out of his tail. I don't know. I will say though, it definitely is my least favorite dragon out of the bunch that we got of his ace monsters, competing against like Rush Dragon, Shockley Dragon, and Dragonic Slayer being my personal favorites. In fact, we do see the card. Sadly, we do not get to see it actually summoned. Which that's more the fanboys kind of sad because I really do like the design of Dragonic Slayer. But hey, at least it helped him win the duel, so that makes me happy in my books because this and they don't even hint at this kind of stuff anymore because this is obviously a situational type of deck. But it's honestly not a bad card effect. You get to target the top 3 cards of your deck, and you get to shuffle them in any order that you want, which is honestly not that bad of an effect. The fact that you know what card is next on the top of your deck could probably help you with potential strategies that you're trying to go for. Or if you're able to get a draw power, like say you were able to draw 2 cards for some reason, and one of the cards was the third one at the bottom of your deck when you drew the 3 cards, you can go and get that card. So it's a pretty good effect, I think. Again, I don't know the whole Rush Duel format, but it looks good to me. So he puts it back in his deck. He goes for the attack. He's able to deal major amount of damage. He activated Rush Dragon through Gears as if again, and he was going to finish him off when he attacks Odd Eyes Twin-Tailed Cat. Activate Lost Cat after he did retrieve it at the end of his turn and was able to set it again. And then he went to activate his frigate. I swear to God, Rook, you're the dumbest character I ever know, but I love you, dude. He forgets where he set the cards. And it took Yuga to kind of, well, he doesn't still know. He just guessed monster card. And he's able to get Rush Dragon Gears. I'm kind of thinking that Rook has 80% monsters. I'm just gonna say that the fact that he keeps guessing monster, I'm assuming he just has a whole bunch of dragon monsters in his deck. I'm just gonna say that right now because I don't know why in the world you won't try to go with something different than monster, but he was able to get the monster correctly anyway and was able to attack Schrodinger, defeat Schrodinger, and then Schrodinger, you gotta feel bad for this guy because after he loses, he begs for forgiveness and then gets sent through like this trap door and we never see him again, which is, well, I kind of feel bad for the guy. I mean, he didn't deserve that, but they didn't get out of the they don't know where in the world he went. They actually get sent out of the place. They rise up from the ground and basically are taken back to the outside world again. And he said like I think it's like he said like they can do the rest of the stuff tomorrow basically. And then you see the last shot that you get of this episode is just Rook talking about this star that was in the sky. It's like he's gonna become like this star, and then you just see the star falling down to the ground. He's like, no, I don't want the star to be falling now. And he goes and jumps from the star, and that's the end of the episode. So yeah, honestly, it was a pretty good episode. It's good that we actually did learn about Neil a little bit. I'm very glad that I liked it. If it wasn't, honestly, it still would have been a decent episode. I'm just really glad that we got some information about Neil. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of it in the next episode. I don't know if he is. I don't think he's in the next episode, if I remember correctly. I know that's kind of spoiling it, but it's okay. I don't think he is going to be in the next episode. Next episode is going to be very, very interesting. I'm not going to say anything about it, but that is just going to be one weird episode. That's all I'm going to say about it. But guys, that is really going to be it. There isn't really much to talk about it. It just is feels like another kind of like fillerish duel. I guess this is more intense stuff, but I will say though, the thing with Yugioh Sevens is that a lot of these characters right now, other than the main five, and yes, and I say main five, you got Yuga, Rook, Gakuto, and Roman, and then I'm counting Roa in there as well since he's the rival. But honestly, a lot of these characters just feel like one-offs, and it kind of is sad because I want to see more like interesting characters. Like now that we have Neil, he kind of fills in that role, but we just do have to see a little bit more of him, I will say. But hey, I think we might be getting some good characters going down the line. It's just right now for me, the most appealing characters to me are just the main five right now, and Neil is appealing, but we just need a little bit more of him. So let me know what you guys think of this duel down below, and kind of let me know what you guys have been thinking of Yugioh Sevens as a whole. I've honestly been enjoying it surprisingly, but hopefully they just do a little bit more, because a lot of these just feel like one-shot duelists, and that's going to be the last of them. Like, I don't think we're going to be seeing Schrodinger again. I don't think we're going to see Arya Arata. I don't think we're going to see this Maguro guy, the fisherman guy, again. And we haven't seen, like, Metsuburo, Bakuro, Khan, Yoshio. We haven't seen those guys since the first arc. I feel like they're getting just a lot of characters for those arcs to show off, just to show off decks, which makes sense. Now that you have a new Rush Duel product, you want to get the cards out there, and since you're not having a lot of dual cards, or like cards from the older sets into this, or like from like the Master Duel setup into the Rush Duels, you're kind of having to rebuild your own thing. At least with Speed Duels, you still had the same thing, even though they kind of did that a little bit poorly. But guys, that is going to be it for the review part. I do want, before we end this video off, I do want to mention one more thing before we end this episode. So let me just talk about it real quick. So, and if you don't care about TCG or OCG products, stuff like that, you can just end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below on it. But if you want to know what I'm going to be talking about, stick around. So the thing that I did learn recently is that there is a trademark going around for the English versions of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel format. And when I saw this, I was very intrigued. I didn't see this until, I believe, Monday night is when I was, because I was kind of doing a little bit of research, kind of getting my stuff for the episode review, and I didn't notice this, and I think it is really cool. I think this is getting closer, and the reason why I'm saying this is because this is getting closer to getting Rush Duels into TCG. There was a lot of speculation going on that Rush Duels would not come to the TCG because we have Speed Duels, and Japan doesn't. So they were saying like, oh, we want speed duels to be, the other countries thing, and then have Japan only have rush duels. I don't think it's a good marketing tool, because if you want to expand your cards and you want people to buy your cards, have them worldwide. You're just limiting yourself to Japan, and you're just honestly you're not getting good sales when you can be making lots more if you make it worldwide. So I think they are gonna put rush duels into the TCG as well. When they're gonna do that, I have no idea. But I feel like it's gonna confirm it if we do get a Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens dub. I never really talked about Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens dub possibilities. I think the Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens is gonna get a dub nowhere right now because we're still in brains. I think we're on Season 2, Episode 86, which is the conclusion to Go versus Yusaku Round 2. If I remember correctly, that was the last episode I remember hearing about. If it did change, let me know, but that's where we're at the dub at this point, and until they finish the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains dub, we're not even going to be talking about a Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens dub. Heck, we haven't even got it down here in the U.S. I mean, if you want to watch it, you have to watch it on internal other networks, some very sketchy websites, and honestly, I'm not going to really take that risk. Luckily, my site does have it, but there is some problems with it, and I kind of wish they'd get it to America already, because people want to watch it. Put it on Hulu, and people can just bench watch it the entire time. Who knows, but that's not ranting about that. If I had to guess when Rush Duels and Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens would come to the TCG, probably somewhere in late 2021. Not 2020, but 2021. I think we're still like years away before we actually get anything on a products. Maybe I'll argue that maybe June can be a good spot as well, but I think it's going to be like in like November or something like that of 2021. I think that's a fair estimate to say when Rush Duels and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens dub would be coming out around. Maybe a little bit earlier for the actual product, but who knows? I just wanted to let that kind of just inform you guys of that if you guys never heard of it before. But let me know what you guys think of that. Does that mean that Rush Duels are coming to the TCG, or are they not? If they do, I might just talk about it and give my thoughts on Rush Duels, because I haven't really talked about Rush Duels that much. So maybe that's a video I would do once I kind of can test out Rush Duels. I know I can do it on YGO Pro or Dual Nexus, but I want to wait until I actually have physical cards in my disposal. But guys, that should be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, guys, take care. Let me know what you guys think of all the information I gave you guys down below on the episode, on the whole thing about Rush Duels being in the TCG, about the news that had came out about them branding it to the English translation, and just your whole thoughts on Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. I mean, I've been enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, so I would like to know what you guys think about it as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, guys, take care and have yourselves a great rest of your day.